Welcome to Arts Beyond Museum. I'm Khan and I'm your curator for this series. Now, museums, are they supposed to collect art and exhibit them? No. Museums are supposed to collect art and bring it to the people. But what if there might be periods of time that people of the world cannot go to museums? What should we do? Should we let art, maybe for years or even decades, go into the dark ages? No, we should bring art beyond museums to the people. And that's exactly what we are doing. We are going to bring art beyond museums to you. Now, in this series, Art Beyond Museums, I and we will be exhibiting Master Yun's feng shui paintings around Singapore at Singapore's beautiful, historically significant and amazing places that Singaporeans and friends all over the world should and could visit. Let's go! Now, friends who are new with us, you might be wondering who is Lotus on Water, who is this painting by, and who exactly is Master Yun Zi. Now, this is Master Yun Zi, a very esteemed feng shui master, 6th generation in the feng shui family. In 2006, Master Yun inherited his experience, the wisdom of the feng shui family, and founded Lotus on Water. Master Yun has been practicing art since young, and his feng shui paintings creation are the exact embodiment of prosperity and elegance, and we will know why very shortly. In 2019, Master Yun's art and Master Yun himself was recognized by China CCTV. They even make a whole documentary about him, and he was awarded with many different awards. For instance, like Achievement in Arts Award. They even bestowed him the title of I Ching Grandmaster Gold Medal Award, and so on. Now, Master Yun is the first and only artist to have exhibited on the Great Wall of China. Mind you, Great Wall of China has 3,500 years of history, 3,500 years, and no one has exhibited on it before, only Master Yun and his feng shui paintings. Till now, as we are speaking, Master Yun already has 14 major art exhibitions all around the world. Here we are. I think many of us will know where this place is, right? Actually, this is at the mouth, or what we call the end of the Singapore River, and this is actually the whole Marina Reservoir. In front of me is Marina Bay Sands, and of course, right behind me is the very famous Esplanade, or what Singaporeans would like to call it, the durian, okay, because it looks like durian. I think perhaps it represents Singapore or Singaporeans' resilience. Now, here for our friends overseas who are not very familiar, this is the art house, or this is the most mega art place in Singapore. 2 theatres. If you see, there are 2 domes, if you can capture it. 2 domes. One is the theatre, the other is the concert hall. Mega stuff going on there. Now, this is the durian. Durian happens also to be Singapore's favourite fruit, or national fruits. I personally, I don't quite durian, but a lot of people like it. But just a tip for our foreign friends, if you have durians, please do not bring it to the MRT or the Mass Rapid Transit, because there is a fine for it. That means you'll be penalized for it. Nonetheless, talking about fruits and durians, this is Singapore's fruit, the durian. We love durian so much that we even made this expensive and this wonderful arts house, this concert hall, into the shape of a durian. Look at that. On Master Yun's paintings, no durians. But we have something else. We have another plant that is not durian. It is called the peony. In Chinese, we call it the mudan. Can you see? Okay, let me point out to you. In case you're wondering, actually, this is a pair of cranes. And here, if you see the golden buds around it, there's a red hue. That's where the peonies are. Okay. Peonies actually is a pretty classical motif, M-O-T-I-F, in classical Chinese paintings. You get to see them a lot, but of course, the way that Master Yun paints it, it's very different. But let me explain what does this peonies all mean and why do Master Yun actually paint them. Now, peonies, they represent prosperity, they represent power, and some people actually say that peonies, they represent ladies' power. So if you would like to enhance some ladies' power, then by all means, get one of Master Yun's painting and put it at home and go for it, all right? It was said that one of the lady emperors, actually the lady emperor in Chinese history, Wu Zetian, her favorite plant was peony, okay? Of course, as I said, peony that Master Yun paints are different from how the classical ways are painted. I might have explained before that Master Yun's material, there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of silver, and the paper is used, it can last for a long time. Now, peonies have a season, usually May to June. That's when the peonies are best blossoming. But the season would end and you don't get the peony anymore. But if you are looking for an everlasting peony, there you have it on Master Yun's painting, because it is painted with gold and the leaves, the petals are painted with silver. It is peony of gold and silver. We can imagine if it shall bring you power, it is power and prosperity that is as everlasting as gold and silver.
You have seen Master Yun's heavenly feng shui paintings, but have you seen his feng shui calligraphies? Master Yun has been recognized as the founding father of feng shui arts, feng shui painting, and feng shui calligraphy. The first time when feng shui calligraphies were ever exhibited was on the Great Wall of China. Speak with us to find out your choices for selectable feng shui calligraphies today.
Right behind me, as you see, I'm not sure whether you hear it or not, that's the symbol of Singapore. That's Merlion, okay? I think many of us will be very familiar with this Merlion. But you look at it, especially for friends who are overseas, friends who are not Singaporeans, might look at this and find it a bit funny. What is this? This is not a fish, this is not a lion, and why does the sound Merlion? What does it mean? Now, Mer actually means sea, so it actually literally means sea lion. How did this mystical creature come to be and how did it become a Singapore symbol? Alright, there's a huge story to it, but to cut it short, now why does it have a fish? What does it symbolize? Actually, it symbolizes the foundings of Singapore or the beginnings of Singapore as a fishing village. At the time, it was called Temasek, okay? And the lion, why does it have a lion head? And that is to symbolize then when it was discovered by Shangnila Uttama, or as they say in the legends, the first creature he saw when he landed in Singapore was a lion. And that's when he called it Singapura, which is called Lion City, as we are still known today. So that's the lion, fish, or sea lion for you, right? And that's Singapore's symbol. I think also that this lion represents Singapore's strength. The lion represents courage, bravery, and persistence. Now, in Master Yun's paintings, we don't have Merlions, okay, but Master Yun has something else, some other mystical creatures. If clients and friends you are more familiar, you know that Master Yun's major motif, M-O-T-I-F, other than peonies, as we talked about, it's actually peacocks. Peacocks that represents prosperity, that represents, elegance. But what I have here today is not one that is of peacock. This is crane, okay, C-R-A-N-E, crane. In Chinese, we call it he, which represents longevity, status, and fame. In Chinese, we say he he you ming. That means that you are very famous. Now, some of us might think that, hey, this crane does not look like the usual cranes. Not like the cranes that you see in zoos, or not like the cranes that you actually see in probably classical Chinese paintings. And you are most right. The cranes that Master Yun paints, they are not your biological cranes. For one, if it was a biological crane, it wouldn't have a gold body. It's gold. This is absolute 24K gold, okay? And the circumference is painted with pine soot ink. And of course, you will notice that the crane, their bodies are very, very rounded, like very full and very prosperous. This is not your classical Chinese painting crane as well. This series of painting, we are very fortunate. Master Yun is the one and only artist to have ever exhibited on the Great Wall of China. And on the Great Wall of China, he has this mega huge long painting that is about 13.8 meters long. On it, he painted 108 cranes. Now, each of these cranes actually looks like this. What I have here today is actually an individual segment that he repainted. That means that you can imagine there are 108 cranes. He chose two, he chose two, he chose two, and he made them into smaller paintings, repainted it again. This is a series that went on to the Great Wall of China. The name is called Greetings to Heaven and Enrichment of Earth. Like in Chinese, we call it 贺天复地图. The whole series has the same name, just a different number. The one you're looking at here is 060. All of them are cranes, and this 108 cranes with the rounded bodies, actually they represent 108 heavenly bodies, all the stars that are around us, influencing us. Now, if you have a painting like this, you might not have all the 108 stars with you, but at least you have some of them that will be transforming you and your future and fortune. Just behind me, the skyline of Singapore. I'm sure you have seen this on the postcards many times. It's really a remarkable manifestation of Singapore's success so far. Okay, and in my hands, it's a champagne, and not just any champagne, it's Lahong Paris champagne. And actually, not just any Lahong Paris champagne. This is what we call Guanxia. Okay, in Chinese, actually, this Chinese name is given by Master Yun. It's called Hong Tu Di Ye, Grand Empire, Grand Ambitions, and Grand Achievements. This is the champagne we want to bring to you in this episode. As I mentioned, Lahong Perrier has 200 over years of history, established since 1812. And throughout these 200 years, they have never worked with any other artist before. The first artist they worked with is Master Yun himself. Over here on the label, we actually see Master Yun's painting, and that is a great achievement. Imagine the connection of different countries, different nations, different cultures, time as well, over 200 plus years. So, we're going to celebrate with this Guanxia. Look at this, the Guanxia, Hong Tu Di Ye. I was being told by the director of Lahong Perrier that look at how fine the bubbles are. And they say one determinant of how great a champagne is that if you keep it there for a long time and see how long the bubble will last. I think that means a lot to how good the feng shui or how good the painting is as well. How long would this piece of artwork last? How long would your good energy, how long would your prosperity last? Now, when it's a painting like this series, as I mentioned before, it's called the 贺天复地图, or Greetings to Heaven and Enrichment of Earth. What I have with me here is number 47. You have something like this that's painted in gold, that's painted in silver, and amazing paper quality, your prosperity, and the value of this artwork, it's going to last for a very, very long time. Now, behind me, I have the Merlion, as you can see, and before that was the Esplanade. And actually over the other side is the skyline, the beautiful skyline of Singapore, that what we call Central Business District, and they've expanded over to the other side with all the new banks. A lot of this that I'm seeing behind us, they are reclaimed land. Can we imagine this? That all this before, just probably 20 and 30 years ago, it's barren, it's empty, and probably just water. And there we have now such beautiful skyline, beautiful buildings, creating such prosperity for Singapore. It was an empty canvas, just like the painting before it was painted, and now full and vibrant. Now, speaking of empty canvas, even if someone decides to paint crane or peacock or let's say peony as well, they would not be able to duplicate or imitate Master Yun's painting exactly. Truth be told, even Master Yun cannot do another painting that is exactly the same. As I said, 047 in other episodes will be introducing more other serial numbers painting of the same series, but if you look closer, they might share the same symbols, they might share the same motifs, but they will not look the same. And that is because what happened to the canvas when it was first painted, what we like to call the first few layers. If you look closer to the painting, here you see there are several colors. Green, of course, a bit of blue, a bit of yellow that is here. Okay, and on top, Master Yun has the peacocks and the gold and silver peony flowers. Now, what happened is that when it's a blank canvas, Master Yun would do something called color splashing. In Chinese, we call it po cai. Now, this is a very old technique. Since Tang Dynasty, they have it, but what Master Yun does is very, very different. All right. First, he has one layer, probably green, and then he would wait for it to dry, and then he has another layer on. Now, there's no determining where these colors would go, and they will just go around. That's why it's called color splashing. And sometimes, to make things even more exciting and vibrant, Master Yun would put the paint into the champagne, and he will pop the champagne, and he will let the colors fly all over the canvas. And sometimes he might just use this the Guanxia as part of the material as well. So that means that when you have Master Yun's painting, you might actually be having materials inside that includes Laurent Perrier's champagne. Now, since the colors cannot be decided, how it flows, how it flies, no one, including Master Yun himself, can duplicate how this backdrop would look like. Now, that's about life. There are many things in life that you cannot determine, and you just have to make the best out of it. Okay? And after this backdrop is done, Master Yun starts to discover where the peacocks are or where the cranes are. And over here, Master Yun has decided, and he finds out that these two are the cranes. Two cranes belong here. Two of them, one looking at the silver and golden peonies, the other looking at the gold on himself. Always searching for prosperity whenever possible. Cheers!
The Art Beyond Museums series and Master Yun Longzi's Feng Shui art are proud to be sponsored by Laurent Perrier. For 200 over years, Laurent Perrier has not worked with any other artist before. When you purchase a piece of Feng Shui art exhibited in this Art Beyond Museums series, you will also be getting a complimentary set of 5 different specially selected cuvées of Laurent Perrier champagne: the La Cuvée, the Cuvée Rosé, Brut Millésime, Demi-Sec Harmony, and the Cuvée Guanxia, so that you can enjoy the taste of elegance while basking in the prosperity of Master Yun's Feng Shui paintings and calligraphies. Cheers to prosperity and elegance.